So Governor Thompson, thanks so much for sitting down with the Wisconsin State Journal.
It's always a pleasure. You know, the State Journal has been a newspaper that I've followed and I read daily. Probably I've read the State Journal daily now for approximately 60 years. So I'm probably one of the longest the longest readers that you have in your library.
So tell me about the convention so far.
Convention, like all conventions, you know, it has its positive and its negatives. This is my 11th convention, so I have some degree of expertise. I'm probably one of the oldest, as not as age, but as far as attending that many conventions, 11 of them. And
so positives and negatives. What are we seeing?
The first convention I was at was the fight between Ronald Reagan and Gerald Ford. That was the most exciting because during the vote we didn't know who was going to win, and there was a deal made with the state of Mississippi that swung the election for Gerald Ford, and he got the nomination. This election is completely different, but at the same time has some similarities, you know, because we've never had a candidate since Dwight Eisenhower run as a Republican that's never held public office before. This is unique in and of itself. Secondly, you had 17 candidates, all of which felt that they were the most important person. And, you know, you have to think that to run for president. And Donald Trump, who's never even run for school board, comes out on top. So there's a lot of jockeying, a lot of sharp elbows. People are somewhat concerned, you know, whether or not he's the right one. And now is the healing process. He is the nominee. He's going to be the nominee. There's no ifs, and buts about it.
Paul Ryan and Scott Walker, there was some hesitation.
And there's hesitation not only with those people.
But not from you. I wanted to ask, but you were very quick to say, after Indiana, you were very quick to just say, I'm in for Trump. John Kasich is not speaking at this convention. Why were you so quick to say Trump's our guy?
Well, because I look at I've been around for so long, and I know that we cannot win as a Republican without being unified. And we cannot afford 4 more years of Obama. And that's what it's going to be with Hillary if she is elected president. The country cannot afford another 4 years of strangulation with rules, regulation, a real anemic economy. We need change. We need transformational change. And that's what Donald Trump offers. That's what Republicans offer. And we can't win because Democrats start out with about 240 electoral votes to our 100 and some. So they got about twice as many electoral votes going in to the election than we do. They only have to pick up about 35 more electoral votes to win the presidency. We have to pick up about 150. You know, almost 3 times, 4 times more than the Democrats in order to win. And we cannot afford to win. We cannot afford to be split and win. And that's why I recognize that. I said, he's the person. We got to get behind him.
But there are people who have been saying, and they've been arguing since he clinched the nomination, that this, even people in Wisconsin,
yes,
who say Trump's just not going to win. He's down the polls. He's the most negative of all these candidates on the Republican side. So how do you appeal to a general electorate? Why do those arguments not at least give you some pause?
Because I recognize the terrible situation if Hillary Clinton is elected. I think Hillary Clinton is the poorest candidate that Democrats could put up, and I think she'd be the poorest president. And that's why I don't think we can afford. Our country has got so many problems. We need a problem solver, not a problem creator. And I think Hillary Clinton creates more problems than she would ever solve. And therefore, I want a president that's going to act, make good, positive, constructive decisions. We got economic problems. We got safety problems. We got military problems. We got veterans problems. We got healthcare problems. We got job problems. We got racial problems. All of these things are splitting America, pulling down our strength. We need somebody that's going to unify, strengthen the country, and the only way I think that's going to happen is with a Republican president and a Republican Congress. That's why we have to unify behind Donald Trump. There's no exception. Donald Trump is the nominee. If you want a Republican, get behind him. If not, get the hell out of the way.
You've been involved in national Republican politics for a long time. What do you make of? How do you think Reince Priebus is doing as the chairman of the national?
Oh, I think Reince is doing a very credible job. I mean, let's face it. I mean, trying to corral 17 egos. Can you imagine? 17 individuals that believe they're the best person in the world to be president of the United States, and his job, Reince, is to say, let's try and be somewhat civil. Let's let the process work out. And then after the process works out, trying to bring them all together and then put on a convention, that's almost impossible. It's a Herculean job, and I think he's done a very, very credible job.
Scott Walker, you said after he dropped out of the presidential race,
yes,
that it'd be very difficult to run again for president after running the kind of race that he did. You ran in 2008, Tim Pawlenty in 2012. These were short campaigns.
Yes.
That didn't get to the the first votes in Iowa. This week it seems like he is still keeping that possibility open in the future.
Sure.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think he should. I mean, why would you not, if you get the opportunity to keep your name out there? You're a public official. You're running, you're a governor. You want to be as much out in front as you possibly can. If going to these other caucuses gives you an opportunity to get that kind of publicity, do it. Why not? I mean, he should do it. But
you think he will run again? Do you?
I don't know.
Would you advise him to run again? Or?
Well, it depends upon what it looks like. First off, if Donald Trump wins, if Donald Trump wins, you don't have a presidential campaign for 8 years because he'll run again in 2020. Then you got Paul Ryan, you got John Kasich, you got some pretty in Senator Cruz, who have really already continued operations. I know the Kasich people have got their team still intact and going to keep it. And so you're going to have to try and catch up, and it just is impossible to put that together at this point in time. So it's very difficult.
Paul Ryan or Scott Walker, 2024. Who would you most hope to see running in 2024?
Well, I would like to see Paul Ryan. I think he's by far I think Paul Ryan by far, and not taking anything away from Scott Walker. Paul Ryan, and I think Scott probably would agree. Paul Ryan is the white knight. He is the white leading the effort. He is the general of the forces right now. He is, next to Donald Trump, the next highest ranking Republican in stature, in ability, and so on. And I'd say even higher in ability. But so there's no question that Paul Ryan deserves it and should have it if in fact he wants to run. I'm not sure he wants to run.
Oh, and from conversations with him at all?
No, I haven't had. I hope he does, because I think Paul Ryan would make an absolute excellent president.
As a final question, any fun anecdotes or so far from the few days you've been here so far?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's very difficult to get around and be able to find where you're supposed to be in the Quicken Stadium, because if you go to 132, it's off of floor 4, and then you go down to 232, that's on floor 3. I mean, the numbers in the suites do not correspond with the floor, so and you can't walk up. You have to go by elevator, so it's very difficult stadium to get around. But the people are very nice about it. And I think the second thing is it's like any convention. You run on adrenaline. You don't have the time to get good sleep and regular meals. Everything is happening and being pushed and shoved and so on. But I've been here for 11 times, conventions. I know it, and so you just get exhausted.
And any final advice for candidate Donald Trump, nominee Donald Trump?
Yes, I want him tomorrow night. Thursday night. I know this is going to be on Saturday.
We're going forward, yeah.
I want him to be able to give the speech of his life. I want him to be able to say, I'm the transformational president. That's what people want. They want change. They say we are sick and tired of the perilous, the absolute the partisan policy ideology fights right now. I want to get things done. Number 2, I'm going to make you safe in your own home. I'm going to make your streets safe. I'm going to make your city safe. I'm going to make your state and your country safe. We're going to build on what we've done militarily. We're going to build a very powerful military operation. We're going to absolutely have you as friends, but if you double cross us and do something against us, look out. We're going to be very, very tough. We want to create jobs and opportunity. So, I mean, it's the speech of the century that he needs to give.
Governor, thank you very much for